All right, so we've got a short lesson here. What we are going to do is this one is a review of grade 9. So is the next one. We are going to look at solving one-step equations. So when we do this, a few key terms to know. Isolate means that you want to get a variable completely on its own. So anything else in that equation, you want to move to the opposite side of the equal sign so that your letter is what you have. So this is getting your unknown on one side by itself. The unknown or variable, as we've referred to earlier, is the letter. It is the term that we don't know what the number is. We use a letter to hold its spot, and then we want to figure out what that letter is at later times. Then when we say solve or evaluate, what we are doing is determining the value of the variable. So to solve an equation, essentially we are going to isolate the variable by doing the opposite of the operation that you see. One thing to remember, whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So when we are working with this, something that I want you to keep in mind is that we're kind of going in reverse BEDMAS order, if that makes sense. But essentially, whenever you see something like addition, you are going to subtract. When you see subtraction, you are going to add. When you see multiplication, you are going to divide. And when you see division, you are going to multiply. If you see an exponent, you are going to do the root of that exponent. So to start off with just nice, easy ones, I have x plus 3 equals 10. I want to get x on its own. So I can see a addition of 3. So I'm going to subtract 3. Positive 3 minus 3 is 0. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So x is equal to 10 minus 3, which is 7, which means x is equal to 7 when x plus 3 is equal to 10. Same thing on this side. I have minus 25, so I am going to add 25 so that that goes to 0. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So y is equal to negative 12 plus 25, which is 13. P over 8 equals negative 5. This is the same as division. So I'm going to multiply by 8. My 8 and my 8 cancel out. And whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So P is equal to 8 times negative 5, which is negative 40. For D, I have 13m equals 39. So I can see that this is the same as 13 times m. So I'm going to divide that by 13. My 13 and 13 will cancel. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So m is equal to 39 divided by 13, which is 3. On this side, I have 15 plus f equals negative 1. Remember, this is a plus here, so I'm going to subtract 15. So those go to 0. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So I'm going to, oops, that's supposed to be subtract 15 here. The reason why what we do to one side we must do to the other is because of this equal side. We still want both sides to be equal. But I will get f is equal to negative 16. Now I have negative 60 equals negative 12k. I can see that negative 12 times k, I need to divide by negative 12 to get k on its own. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So 5 is equal to k, because negative 60 divided by negative 12 is equal to k. Then I have 1 equals b minus 2.5. Now, another thing that you can keep in mind is that when you are adding or subtracting, you're just moving it across the equal sign and changing the sign. So this negative becomes positive. A positive becomes negative. So 1 plus 2 over 5 equals b. To add these together, I need to get this into a fraction. 1 as a fraction with a denominator of 5 is just 5 over 5. Plus 2 over 5 is equal to b. So 7 over 5 is equal to b. 3 minus 1 for t. So one thing to keep in mind is that this is equal to negative t over 4. So I can see it's divided by 4, so I'm going to multiply by 4, multiply by 4. So 12 is equal to negative t. Now I have this negative here, so I'm going to multiply it by negative 1, multiply it by negative 1, and I will get negative 12 equals t. And then over here, again, I've got plus 2.4, move it over the equal sign so it becomes negative, and I will get 5.7 minus 2.4 is equal to 3.3, which is equal to p. We've got 2 more examples here that just require us to do an extra step of combining like terms. So I can see here I have 4y minus 15y, which is going to be negative 11y is equal to 33. Now I can see that I have a negative 11 here, so I'm going to get rid of that. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So y is equal to 33 divided by negative 11, which is negative 3. On example B, I have 4x and 8x. If I combine like terms, I will get 12x is equal to 72. I can see that this is 12 times x. The opposite of multiplication is division, so 12x divided by 12 will give me x, and 72 divided by 12 gives me x is equal to 6. And that is it for lesson 2.4. It's a nice, short, easy one, and I will see you back here for lesson 5.